This is our 1880s, 1890s style wood shop. As you can tell, the first big difference right up there, that's our line shaft system. That's what's driving all these older machines in here. Just about every machine is connected to that line shaft system, and that's what's giving it power. That shaft system used to run off of water. That's how it would have started. Then it converted over to steam, and now we've got it on electric. We built this building in 1990, I believe. They had to cut that shaft system, so you can see we've got a back part, the front part, and an electric motor running each of those. The belts up there, just canvas, nothing too special about it, just a really thick piece of canvas, really. We've got these little hooks right there. Those go together just like that, little finger joints. Piece of steel goes through there, and that's what holds them on. Some of them have rubber on the inside. That's just to help them from slipping. But these belts will last about 5 to 7 years. Typically, the first part that fails is that little steel rod right there, which is a pretty easy fix. The different size wheels up there, that just helps us get different speeds. Our flywheels are big, so we can get those shaft systems up to speed. And then, depending on what type of cut you're making, the curve of the blade, whether you're cutting through the grain, against the grain, with the grain, having that control over the speed can really help yield the best result in this task. So those different size wheels, we've got those tuned to the best speeds there. We deal a lot with red oak, white oak, and alder here. Those are probably the three most popular types of wood we use. Then we use poplar for a drill. A little bit of pine, and then occasionally some hickory, cherry, walnut, but typically those are pretty rare. So mostly, well, not mostly, all American production wood. Now, unfortunately, I can't build a piece of furniture for you folks in 10 to 15 minutes, but I can talk about what we do to a board, much like this one right here. So then I can go into a piece of furniture, set it up for joinery, something like that. Typically, your first step is you want to get this down to thickness. Now, usually you use a face joiner and maybe plane it down. Our planer is right over there in that courtyard, so it is not in condition right now. It doesn't work, unfortunately. So we do all of our stock at dimension on thickness, then we might sand it down just a little bit. We typically deal with 1/2 inch, 3/4, and occasionally 5/8 or 4/4, but typically 1/2 inch or 3/4, and then we'll just sand it down a little bit. So the next step is you want to get one of these ends right here, one of these edges nice and square, typically what we call 6 square, where all 6 sides of the board are square to each other. So we've got the top and bottom right here. The next step is going to be one of these ends. So that's where our joiner is going to come in handy. This joiner is a Gates American joiner. It was made in 1914, and that is the youngest machine in our shop, just a little over 100 years old. That's got an 8-inch cutter head on it, and that cutter head is right beneath this panel right here. That 8-inch cutter head means you can face joiner it, really the board right out about 8 inches. That panel helps you from accidentally sticking your hands into the blade, and also that'll help keep your piece right up to that straight angle fence. Now we've got 2 types of systems that run our machines in this shop. The first one right here is what we call an idle belt system. Now, as you folks can tell right up there, that belt is moving, but this machine is not on right now. That belt right now is just on a free-floating idle pulley, and right next to it there's an active pulley that's the same size, so all I have to do is push that belt over to that active pulley, which is connected to that slightly larger wheel, which is then connected to this belt right here, which is then connected to that cutter head down there. So, pretty simple mechanics. As you can tell, as I move that belt over, that other wheel will start to slowly spin and get up to speed.
Super quick.
I'm going to make sure I have the right grain pattern and go ahead and send this on through. Now what you're listening for when you're doing a joint is you want to make sure that that cutter head is engaged with the wood the whole time. And all I have to do to turn it off is just move that belt right back. You want to make sure that that cutter head is engaged with the wood the whole time. If you hear it, it'll sound like it stopped cutting. That just means that you've got a gap in the board or maybe a fluid code. So you don't want to take several passes until you hear that cut all the way through. Then you can also just check and make sure that it's nice and straight. So the next step would then be to get this other side. Now you could take another pass on the joiner, but if you wanted to take off an inch, 1/2 inch, cut this into strips, your table saw is going to be a much better stop. We've got that joiner set up at maybe about a 32nd of an inch, so if you're wanting to take off even a 1/2 inch, that's a lot of passes on your joiner. With this, you can just set this up, put your nice joints side right up against the straight angle fence, and then send it on through to make your zip. Now this table saw, the system, it's our second type of system we've got running these machines. Instead of the idle pulley system, this one is what we call a clutch system. That means that right now we've got a slightly smaller wheel up there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push the paddle over, that'll send over a little cone that'll expand that wheel onto the hook just to catch ourselves up there. Now we run a 14-inch blade on here, and I believe this machine, this hip saw, was made in 1898. There we go. And it's going to turn that machine off while you pull that lever right back on over. Now this table saw is a little bit different compared to a modern table saw. Typically with a modern table saw, your blade's going to move up and down to get the height that you need for the thickness of the board. And then it'll maybe tilt a little bit diagonally to get a sort of non-right angle cuts. With this tabletop is what moves up and down. The blade is stationary, you can see that right there. And then to get any of the angles, this tabletop moves up like this. Now this can go all the way up to a 45-degree angle. It will still cut at the 45-degree angle. You can see it's a little hard to keep that forward on the right up against the fence, so it'll slide back. So we typically just leave this at a flat angle, I guess a 180-degree angle. But it still does cut all the way up to a 45-degree angle. Now, the next step that you want to take is now you want to get these ends nice and squared everything. That's where our swing arm saw is going to come in handy. This saw was made in 1895 by a company called Heartland Brown out of St. Louis, Missouri. We run an 18-inch blade on up to a 22-inch wide board, so definitely comes in handy when we're doing larger slabs. This is a great example of that idle pulley system, the same one on the joiner over there. You can see that belt. I'm just pushing it right on over to that active wheel, which is connected to our larger wheel, which is then connected to our cover head. You can push these belts off, so you just want to be careful, make sure you're watching. Once it falls into the groove, you're good. Now, one downside to a system like this, much on a day much like today, where it's really rainy, moist, a lot of moisture in the air, we have to let these machines kind of, we have to let them warm up to get up to speed. Moisture in the air it'll make them sticky and just, you really want to cut with a nice sharp blade that's moving really fast. If it's not moving fast enough, you can hurt yourself, or you can damage the board. That's super frustrating. So you just want to give it a second, get up to speed. Unlike modern machines, we can turn them on and they're there to blink of an eye. With this, you just have to give it a minute. One advantage to a system like this is all the power that we need right now is already running on this line shaft system. So we can turn on every machine in the shop, and we wouldn't have to worry about blowing the surface using too much power. It's all already running. So definitely some pros and cons there. This is probably good enough for us right now to make some cross cuts. There we go. Now, unlike a modern chop saw, you bring that blade down onto the board. This, obviously, you can see you just kind of swing it right through, but it's the same effect. So now this board is 6 square. We've got the top, bottom, and the side, and end to end. That just means that all 6 sides are square to each other, nice and even. And that's really beneficial when we're doing joinery. Again, like I said earlier, if we took another board, 6 square, glued it up like that or like that, you're just going to have no unwanted gaps or difference. To give any sort of end joinery right there, mortise and tenon dovetail, pattern illustrations, things like that. It's just going to be a lot easier for layout and the final result will everything will line up really nicely. One thing you can do with this 6 square board, the shop, you can take it back to our shaper table over there. Now I won't demo that, we've got some stuff piled on it, and I'm not going to move the floor right now, but I will tell you folks what we do in the shaper table like that. So it's a little bit different compared to the other machines I've shown you. The other machines, they make a nice straight fit or a cross cut. You use a straight blade, you end up with a straight line. With the shaper table back there, the cutter head is sticking up out of the table, and so you just run this board along that cutter head, and that cutter head will be a different shape and profile. You'll get a nice groove in there. You guys can see right there, we've got a groove, and then it's got a little profile on the top right there. And you can also replace another cutter head on there. You've got that tongue right there, the opposite of that groove. Those will fit nicely together just like that. That's what we call a tongue and groove joint. Then you can take a third cutter head. There's a lot of different types of cutter heads, different profile shapes. And you can go around this panel right here, what we call a raised panel. because it's just a pretty much dual plateau right there. That'll fit nicely in just like that. The final product looks something like this. This is what we call a frame panel, because you've got that frame surrounding this panel right in there. This is really popular woodworking joint for a couple reasons. One main reason is even though this wood isn't on the tree anymore, it's still going to expand and contract just a little bit depending on the moisture. Depending on when you made the piece, it might fit during the winter and be too large during the summer, or fit during the summer and be too small during the winter. So if you just slap the board up there, it might go, and again, it might not fit at certain times of the season. But with this right here, that frame allows that panel to be able to roll and contract just a little bit, and it won't affect your fit. But when you do this up to allow that panel to be free floating, you don't want to get any glue on the panel. You just want to leave that there, let it rest in those grooves right there so that if it does expand and contract, it's got a little bit of space. You just need maybe 16 millimeters for this. Not much, just a little bit of space. I doubt that if that expands, it doesn't pop apart. If you glue it up, it'll pop everything apart. You'll end up with something that looks like that rather than something that looks like this. Here's another wood frame panel right there. Same mixed concept. We have that frame surrounding this panel. It's just a little more modern of a cut, different type of cutter head, just a slightly better one. So. Now the next machine I've got for you folks right here, this is our 36-inch bandsaw. We call this our 36-inch bandsaw because this wheel right up here, that wheel down there, the through right here, those are all right at about 36 inches, so you can cut a board up to probably, I'd say, about 35 inches. Sometimes it's not exactly right on the dimension, but it's right at about 36 inches. This is also an idle pulley system. You can just put that belt right on over, and that'll turn on this larger wheel right here. The blade goes all the way around these two wheels right here. So it's a very long blade, 122 inches long, and about a quarter-inch long, or thick or wide, I guess you could say. So since that blade is so thin and flexible, you can see right there, I can move my piece around the blade here. This is what we call slow cutting. And this is really helpful if you're doing anything that's not a straight line. Diagonals, curves, squiggly lines, you folks can see right here. This one is a squiggly line right there. This is really helpful for when you're doing something that's not a straight line. And we've got a church pew we make up here in this shop. We've got it out on this table, or on this bandsaw right here. Diagonals, again, they work really well on here. So anything that's not a straight line, this is one of my favorite machines in the shop.